Seth is coming out in Zenless Zone Zero in just a few days! We got a really good glimpse of him during the newest chapter of the story. While we got to play him there, we now have early access information. In this video today, we're gonna fully break down everything, from his kit, team synergies, how to build him the best way, and more. Grab yourself some pizza rolls with syrup, and let's do this. As a reminder, all of the content of this video is from the Creator Experience beta server of Zenless Zone Zero. Because this is solely based on the test version, this may in fact change for the final online results and values. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting access. With that being said, let's check out the amazing Seth. Obviously, Seth is our upcoming A-rank defense unit heralding from the new Eridu Public Security faction. His kit will primarily focus on a couple of important concepts: his shields and his resolve. You see this meter below Seth's face? This is his resolve gauge. When this is at 75% or higher, you can use an enhanced version of his basic attack, and this will be extremely vital to his loops and core gameplay, which we can now discuss with his moveset. Seth's not enhanced basic attack is called Lightning Strike. This will just simply deal 4 frontal attacks, mixing between physical and electric damage. The important basic attack is the enhanced one starting at 75% resolve gauge. Once you do add that percentage, hold the basic attack button down to activate Lightning Strike Electrified. This will be a lot more strong, continuous frontal attacks, followed by a finishing strike, all dealing electric damage. However, when you hit this final strike, you'll trigger a quick assist to the squad member positioned before Seth in the composition of the squad. You will see that this is insane for Anomaly units, and especially Jane Doe, throughout this video. In addition, anti-interrupt is also boosted. Moving on to Seth's skills, Thunder Shield Rush will be the form without energy. It'll launch 2 shield strikes forward, dealing electric damage with higher interrupt level. Here's where it gets interesting. Seth's EX special attack, Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage. Firstly, this move will deal massive electric damage in long, powerful series of strikes. Additionally, you can further hold down the button to deal even more strikes and damage, extending the duration. But here's the most important part. When you activate EX Special, you will instantly gain at least 75% resolve gauge, which means you can instantly follow up into his enhanced basic attack. Anti-interrupt is increased, damage taken by Seth is reduced by 40, and he is invulnerable during the continuous slashes. Overall, a pretty dang good EX Special and will be the core spot of his gameplay. The best way I found to use this EX Special is to instantly get that resolve and tank through some of the enemy attacks, which you'll see throughout this Nineveh fight. Once you get the resolve, you go straight into enhanced basic attack, which will instantly buff up the person positioned before Seth, aka Jane Doe in this case, through that quick assist. And more on why it's so important in a little bit. Seth's dodges are pretty simple and straightforward. Thunder Assault will just deal physical damage and a shield bash, with Seth taking 40% less damage. Dodge Counter Retreat to Advance is no different, it's just a quick downward strike dealing electric damage. After this move, however, you can instantly hold EX Special button, if you have the energy, to go straight into Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage. Doing it this way will cause that EX Special to have a lot faster charge up. Once your decibel rating is at 3000 aka max, you know what time it is. Press Q to activate Justice Prevails, which is a pretty stinking cool name. This move will also gain 75% resolve immediately and actually restore 3 of these little guys right here, the assist points. Similar to that dodge counter, you can combo this straight into Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage, which is that EX special attack. Perhaps the most important ideas in his kit are the core passives. His first one, Protector, is where his defense classification comes in. When you use the EX Special Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage, Seth will gain a shield of Firm Resolve, equal to 50% of his attack stat, up to 3000 points, lasting 25 seconds. Additionally, when you trigger a quick assist or chain attack, which is activated mainly through that basic attack Lightning Strike Electrified, the squad member who enters the field will also gain a firm resolve shield of the same value. But here's where he gets so good for Anomaly teams. He will grant those with the shield a 62 point increase to Anomaly proficiency. Breaking this down a little bit, this is where Seth will shine as an amazing support. His shield will get stronger as he gets more attack stat, but he'll also give that Anomaly proficiency boost every 10 seconds. It will be essential for Seth to pretty much always be using that enhanced basic attack at 75% resolve to get this effect. His second passive is called High Spirits, and it will be activated with another electric unit or unit of the same faction in the same team. When either Chain Attack or the enhanced basic attack from Resolve Gauge hit an enemy, the target's Anomaly build-up resistance to every attribute is reduced by 20%, lasting 20 seconds. In other words, this is another amazing addition to Anomaly teams and provides a great debuff to stack even more Anomaly. So just remember to use that EX special into the enhanced basic attack to get all of these buffs and stuff, and you'll be really good on Seth. Now that we know the kit, let's break down why I think Seth is so valuable as a whole character. Even though Seth is an A rank character, he actually has a lot of value and is featured on one of the best teams in the game. Additionally, since he's on Jane's banner as a featured unit, he'll have an increased chance of getting Mindscapes in a few days. As for his teams though, I actually feel like Seth is more of a support than defense, especially for Anomaly based. In that same regard, his best partner will be pretty much any Anomaly unit, but more so specifically Jane Doe will be his best partner. We already know about his shield, his Anomaly proficiency buff, as well as his Anomaly build-up res debuff to the enemy. This means he can also be used directly with Grace Howard if you want to focus on a shock team. Don't forget that we have Bernice coming out in 1.2 as well, and he will almost undoubtedly pair extremely well with her. And of course, I will be making full guides for the 1.2 characters when they get here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to know when those go live. Even though Seth is highly centered around Anomaly, he can technically be used in other fringe, more niche teams as well. For instance, if you don't have either of the really good Anomaly units being Grace or Jane, feel free to use him in an Anton team. While this mono-electric kind of style is a lot more niche and won't be as sustainable as the full Anomaly teams, it's still kind of an interesting option. My best advice for now though is to mainly just stick Seth on those crazy Anomaly teams, which are already amazingly fun and addictingly powerful. But I'm also excited to see what Bernice can offer us in 1.2, especially with Jane and Seth's synergy. But believe me when I say, once you play Jane and Seth on the same team, you'll see Seth's power in action, and it's actually pretty good. With that out of the way, it is now finally time, my friends, the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right, it's time to build our protective tanky lad. Starting with the W engine, Seth's best in slot is the one made for him, Peacekeeper Specialized. While shielded, the equipper's energy regen increases by 0.4 per second. The Anomaly build-up rate of EX special attacks and assist follow-ups increases by 36% and 36%. In other words, it's a very high uptime energy regen buff as well as an Anomaly build-up rate. Since we won't have any S ranks until Caesar King comes out in 1.2, we can skip right to the other options in the A rank. My next preferred option for Seth will be the Battle Path's defense engine, Spring Embrace. Reduces damage taken by 7.5%, and when attacked, the equipper's energy generation rate increases by 10% for 12 seconds. The rest of this just states that the buff will transfer to a new on-field character when you switch. The only other W engine I would consider being at least okay on Seth is the Bunny Band, but even this one isn't super special. In fact, the only real reason to use it would be for that 10% attack boost when shielded. Luckily, even though his W engines are fairly limited due to our lack of too many defense characters, he actually has different build options for disk drives. Firstly, unlike our lovable big boy, Ben Bigger, Seth does not need defense. In fact, he only really wants to boost his attack stat, and for this reason, I have completely ignored Soul Rock. There are simply just way better options than just getting this defense percent boost. Additionally, he also doesn't need the damage reduction from the 4-piece part of this, because he already has a lot built into his kit. His best in slot, however, will be Swing Jazz, kinda like most of the supports in the game. Not only is that 20% energy regen increase really good for Seth, because we always want to use that EX special, he'll also become a support by boosting squad members' damage by 15% through chain attacks and ultimates. Granted, this will be much more common through chain attacks, because you really shouldn't be using ultimate on him over somebody like Jane Doe if you have her on the team. As for other 4 pieces for Seth, I actually made a bit of an error when I first started testing with him. Don't fall into the trap of using Freedom Blue's 4-piece, because those abilities don't stack. Seth already literally has that 20% build-up res built into his kit, and is not going to passively stack with Freedom Blues. For 2-piece, my preferred as well as my most recommended is the Hormone Punk for the attack percent, since that's his primary stat. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but you could actually use Freedom Blues here for a 2-piece if you want more shock focus. Depending on what team you run with Seth, and preferably Jane, he will already be dealing a decent amount of shock Anomaly since he hits so many times with his moves. In fact, he has such good shock already that you don't even really need Grace to go with Jane Doe. But we will dive into that in much more detail on the full Jane Doe guide coming out when she releases in just a few days. Make sure to subscribe for that one as well. Lastly, for Seth's 2-pieces, if you want more damage, run 2-piece Thunder Metal. But as you can see throughout this video, I was testing on Nineveh in Inferno Reap mode. With a complete free-to-play Jane, and Seth only having his S1W engine with 4-piece Swing Jazz, 2-piece Hormone Punk, my current record on Nineveh was 64 million damage.
That's a lot of damage!
Stat-wise, Seth is one of the easier characters to build in the entire game. His best stat by far is attack and should be reflected in all of his disk drives. With the variable slots in slots 4 through 6, every main stat should optimally actually be attack percent. Although if you make a really good energy regen slot 6, that is still a very, very good option. Because he doesn't need a lot of stats, you can also focus on putting a little bit of anomaly proficiency on him as well. Crit on him doesn't really make sense unless you're going for that niche build, so his substats are about the same. Start with attack percent, flat attack, and then anomaly proficiency in that order. But what about our lovable little helper friends, the Bangboos? Obviously this will be dependent on what team you want to build around him, but when possible, use Officer QE. Alternatively, for more focus on physical anomaly, you could use Lucky Boo, and bonus points if you maxed him from that event we just had a couple weeks ago. For mono electric or shock center teams, especially with Grace as the focus, use Plug Boo. As a quick review, make sure to use Seth properly in those anomaly teams. His biggest calling cards will be his big beefy shields from his kit that also provide quick assist and anomaly proficiency. Since his best stat is by far attack percent, he is essentially very easy to build and has a couple of very good options in general, but focus on Swing Jazz 4-piece and 2-piece Hormone Punk. In my opinion, Seth is a very satisfying, powerful unit to use and is extremely fun to play. In his quick, efficient rotation style, especially in those anomaly teams, he has a lot of future-proofing built in as well. He's really our first character that we can kinda consider being anomaly support, and he's only gonna get more use as more units come out, like Bernice in the future. But Hoyoverse and Zenless Zone Zero continue to release really fun, cool characters, all the way down from their animations, their voice acting, and just design in general. So there you have it, everything you need to know about Seth's build and this full guide. Let me know what you think about Seth in the comments below. Are you going to be pulling for him and, of course, Rat Mommy? Also feel free to let me know how to improve the guides for next time, because next is our full Jane Doe guide coming out when she releases. I can't wait to discuss this more with you all. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Zenless Zone Zero. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and remember, all it takes is one pull. Best of luck to all of you, and bye for now.